Hello, welcome back. It's Alec and DJ. Like again, we had it's just us. We had a guest today, but the things changed. We had to reschedule, which is fine because it was a dad issue, which we 100% understand. Um, and yeah, this is a little different today. We are actually recording and we are live on YouTube. We didn't announce this. This was all just uh last minute
For
thing.
the moment.
Yeah, and so I am checking right now to see if it is live on YouTube. But yeah, we're live, bud. What's up?
What's up? Yeah, we were
Also,
just we were like, what do we talk about? We
Mhm.
we had our guest planned, so we are throwing out a couple ideas, and yeah, I think we know which direction we want to head today. But yeah, well, we didn't know that we would be doing live. We also didn't know that we'd be on Riverside. This was all the spur of the moment
Mhm.
type of things, and
So if you
yeah,
guys
we're
don't
actually
know,
liking this product. But
yeah,
sorry.
yeah, there's a lot of cool stuff. We usually use Squadcast, which we've used. Nothing against Squadcast. We've used it for the last 2 years, and we haven't had any issues really. But there's been a couple things, but that's been mainly on our end, messing with stuff. Um, but we're kind of messing around with Riverside. We've messed around with Podcastle recently, which we did like Podcastle, but then we came to Riverside today, and there's a lot of options and a lot of cool stuff. So Riverside, if you are listening to this and you want to sponsor this episode, we could work with you. So, but yeah, how's your week been, bud? We'll just do kind of a check in, see how we're doing.
check
You've had a
check in.
pretty interesting week.
It's been interesting. So
Mm-hmm.
our dog has been sick. We didn't know what's going on. We really still she's on the mend now, so that's a good update.
Mm-hmm.
But for I don't know, past week, 6 or 7 days, she started getting sick, started having diarrhea, and then it just progressively got worse. So we ended up having to get her in the hospital, and she was there for a couple of days, and they put her on a specialized diet, and it's kind of regulated her. And they're just trying to figure out like if this is just because she's allergic. They think she might be allergic to the protein within like chicken and beef,
Mm-hmm.
or she could have a disease like Addison's or so. Yeah, it could be a multitude of things. They're just running blood tests, and once they get the stuff back, which takes about another week, we'll know. But the good news is that she's on the mend. Um, you know, it was not cheap. We
Right.
don't have insurance on Alara, so it costed us a pretty penny. I think it was over 6,000. But she's doing better, and that's all that matters. We'll figure out finances down the road. But yeah, it's been an interesting week. It's been a stressful week. Probably some of my not so proud dad moments. When you're under stress, sometimes you handle it well. Sometimes
Mm-hmm.
your kids push you over the edge, and well, I allowed that to happen a few times where I was yelling. And actually, just yesterday, my kids came up and they're like, "Sorry for not listening, Dad." And I had the opportunity to say, "Well, I'm sorry for yelling." And so we have that thing in our house where our kids will call us out on our crap.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Not cool, Dad. Not cool to yell. Or they'll go to the other one and say, "Dad's yelling. That's not cool." And it's like, gosh dang it, you're right.
Makes you feel like crap.
Absolutely right. But yeah, they hold me accountable to being the best version of me. And so I couldn't have been asked for anything better, really, because that's what I want to do and what I strive to do every day is to be better than I
Right.
was yesterday. So, but yeah, how was your week?
Well, kind of going into your, when parents get stressed out, we choose wrong options. We, well, backstory a little bit. like everyone, we talked about it last week where we were supposed to go to or not Disneyland. We were supposed to go to Sesame Place with you. And everything kind of got, because of Alara's health issues, got postponed till further into the future. And so we ended up just deciding to go to Disneyland, very last minute decision. And we didn't tell the kids till the night before, and they were super excited. But my son gets ideas in his head, and when he gets that idea, he plays out all the worst things, and then it just becomes this big thing. And so we got into Disneyland Park. There's pictures. I can post them or something. I don't know. Of us on the tram going to Disney, all smiling, happy. We're at the Disneyland. You know, it's Disneyland. We get into the park 10 minutes later. My wife is crying. My son's crying. I'm on the verge of a mental breakdown. All because, you know, Disneyland's not cheap. You know, if people, we've been there a few times because I used to work there. So we've been spoiled. But people will go their whole lives planning a trip to Disneyland. So we were there, and we were like, oh, there's no line at Pirates. Let's get on Pirates. Let's just do it. My son started having full, this ride's scary, and there's a drop, and I'm not going on it. Start crying, bawling, and instantly, instead of, all right, well, dude, instead of doing the calm parent approach, no, we went on, man. And my wife, because it's like one of her only days off, and it's like, no, we went on Micah, and I feel really bad because, like, in the moment I felt bad too, but it's like I just didn't know how to handle the situation. My wife's crying, she's walking away. Micah's crying. Mia doesn't know what the freak's going on. I'm over here like, what do I choose, wife or do I choose son? What do I do right now? And we were at the point I was like, okay, maybe I just take Micah home. Let me and Karina have a fun day. But we swung it a different way. Like, we kind of let it blow over, and then we started going on rides that the kids want to go on. And I told Karina, I was like, we need to play this differently. Like, we knew he was scared of big stuff, big rides. Pirates is not a big ride, whatever. He's going back from when he was like 4 years old, and he's thinking, oh, it's a dark ride. There's a drop. Which we've talked, if you guys didn't know, we talked to Rudy Reeskins, and he's talked about how we all draw back from a certain age of our life. And my son is only 8, he's going to be 9, but still he went back to that moment when he was scared when he was little. So we kind of turned it around and flipped it, and he still did have, like, I told him at one point in the day, because I was a little bit livid. I was like, dude, sometimes, he's like, he was trying to like apologize. He's like, Dad, I'm sorry for that. I was like, no, you don't need to apologize because it's not your fault. It's my fault. And I said, sometimes I just don't know how to be your dad. And I'm still learning. And I think good parents are always learning, because you're not just going into any situation thinking like, oh yeah, I know the answer. And like, no, we don't know all the answers. And I told him, I was like, I just don't know how to be your dad sometimes. Not a plug at him, but more of like, I don't know what I'm doing. And I did tell him that, and I sat him down. I was like, dude, we're just, mom and dad came about this really wrong. Like, this was not okay on our end. You did nothing wrong. You're an 8-year-old little boy. And it's on me and mom. And so we ended up just going on a bunch of other rides, and then he did it. He got on Pirates. He almost walked off the ride a couple times, but he got on Pirates, and freaking this little punk, man, all that drama that in the morning, he's like, I love that ride, Dad. Did you see how many times Jack Sparrow's on that ride? Let's go on Space Mountain. Let's go on Indiana Jones. Like, you punk. So, but now I guess we might be going back for my mom's birthday in June. So he's like, oh yeah, we're going to go on everything now. Yeah, you are, you little punk. I'm watching the live stream, by the way, and it's really cool because it like puts it, and we look amazing on there. So, and then there's a live stream chat. I mean, we're excited about this, guys. Sorry, I did the squirrel moment. But there's live stream chat. So actually up here, I can see who's commenting on YouTube. So it's pretty cool.
That's cool.
Yeah. Anyways, but yeah, just to talk about dad moments. That's my Data's dad moment of the week. And yeah. And then Micah got sick. I was so scared, dude. So listen, he has this rash on his side right now, and we thought it was shingles. And I was like, what the heck is an 8-year-old getting shingles for? And my grandma, who used to be a nurse a million years ago, was like, well, it's brought on by stress. And that, like, oh my gosh, I caused this, like, yelling at him at Disney. I'm like, what have I done to my child? And she's like, my grandma goes in the worst case scenarios. She's like, oh, well, if he itches it and touches his face, he's going to go blind. Like, okay, calm down. It wasn't that. I think he just got like something rubbed up against him at Disney, because he just got like a contact rash from something, and he itched at it so bad that it scabbed over. So luckily it wasn't something bad, but still I was like, oh my gosh, what am I doing to my child? But yeah, that was my that was one day. That wasn't even my week. My week's been busy, but that was Sunday. Yeah.
Fun times. It just being like Alex said, it's this is, especially with your older kids, like your oldest, it's the first time you're doing it, period. At every age, every day is the first time you've dealt with a kid that age, period. And then, with your other kids, like you've kind of done it, but then you're still doing it with a different kid, right? Because everybody has different personalities. And so we've already talked about this multitude of times, but one, it's always key to have grace for yourself in those moments. But two, just to sit down your kid and be real.
Yep.
Look, like Alex said, I sometimes just don't know how to be your dad. Like, I just don't know how to parent in this moment. And I'm learning just as much as you're learning. And just being able to recognize that and being able to be transparent. We've had multiple guests say it too. Just be, like Sean Whalen was like, just tell your kids. If you're having a crappy day, tell them I'm having a crappy day. I don't know what it is, just hasn't been a great day. And in those moments, I've found, and Alec can talk to this if this has been the same case for him, but I found when I am transparent with my kids will come up to me and give me a hug. And it's like, I'll cry a little bit, but it's like the day just melts, you had a bad day and the bad day just kind of like melts away and you're like, I feel loved, I feel seen. And it's just all because you're being transparent. And this goes for every area of your life. Like, just tell people when things are not going well. You'll be surprised who steps up to the plate and who helps you through those moments, especially your kids. Yeah. And I'm not saying that the burden needs to be on your kids and you need to put that burden on your kids. I just feel like your kids, like, there's like a natural thing inside of human beings that says, well, he needs community and we need to surround him. Yep. And so, yeah, I just leave that little tip out there for anybody that is, I don't think anybody's on live yet, but anyway, that pops on, or anybody
for
future
listeners, I think, not to go like the mental health episodes. We've been doing a lot of mental health episodes, which is good, but I mean, it just parenting is all mental. 100%. Like, it takes a lot to parent. And like we talked about in the past where, good parenting is only hard for good parents. Because like we've talked about, it's easy to take the step back and be like, oh, I'm just not going to do it. But the stress and the physical, it's not pain, but just the physical and the mental that goes into being a parent, where playing with your kids, keeping up with all the damn math that they change in schools nowadays, just being exhausted physically, mentally, it all comes with parenting. And I think just it's worth it, because I mean, if you're going into parenting, hopefully for the right reasons, you're gonna be accepting that. It's almost like we're signing a contract. It's an invisible contract we all sign as parents. And if you are gonna have a kid, like, that's you accepting that contract, and that's you signing your life away to this life. Because once you get into it, there's going back. I mean, we all threaten our kids. Listen, I brought you to this world, I'll take you out of it. It comes up. That's old school dad talk, but it comes up. But like, we're going to talk. So to go into where I was going, if you're going to have kids, it comes with a lot of baggage, and it comes with a lot of stress, a lot of just everything. And so, listen, you could be the most mentally strong person on the planet. don't count on that with your parent, because you're going to be tired, and it's just going to be a long, it's 18 years most of the time, sometimes longer. So it's worth it though, 100%. Because there's times my son's like, Dad, you love me? I'm like, dude, 100% I love you. Like, I don't want to do life without you. Like, I don't remember a time before you. So they're worth it. They're fun. They're crazy. But yeah.
Yeah, just like everything you go through in life when you get married or you get into a serious relationship and you've been with that person for a while, you start having to deal with things. Either you deal with it or your relationship dissolves and you no longer have it. That's the same thing with kids. It's a whole different beast. Things you didn't think you needed to deal with, now you're having to deal with. It's either that or you keep the generational thing happening. So you like see the same patterns as like your parents and you, and you're like, oh my gosh, my dad used to yell when I was a kid, and what am I doing? I'm yelling now. Like, because the cycle just keeps going unless you deal with the crap that you have inside, just haven't dealt with yet. And so I did find a quote that kind of goes with this, and it says, fathering is not something perfect men do, but something that perfects the man. This is by Frank Pittman. And it resonates with what we're talking about. I feel like that is a myth that people come into, like, oh, I'm just gonna, be perfect. I'm gonna crush it. Just that kind of mindset. And just know, like, you're gonna have moments where you feel like an absolute failure. It's what you do with the thing that you fail at. As long as you're learning from it and you're growing from it, failures are okay. And they're going to happen. But it's just you're going to become a better version of yourself the next day, and a better version of yourself the next day. As long as you keep on saying that I want to be the best version I can be for my kids, for my spouse. This is what this quote is saying, right? You're not going to be perfect, but it will perfect you. Like, it will pull out the best version of you if you allow it. And so that's my tip of the day. Allow it to pull out the best you that you can be. Period.
Well, going back to, like, you were talking about how, like, we're trying to break this generational curses. I think most people nowadays, what they do is, like, we all go back to, like, well, what if I look weird, or what if my parents don't agree with this, or what if this or this, because we've been taught that way. That, well, no, it's okay. I'm going to say this. I was going to say something and it was going to come out wrong. Listen to your parents. 100% listen to your parents. But at the same time, if your parents are the ones that are messing things up in your life and you're chasing that, there's another quote where it said, we can't be the generational curse breakers or whatever if we're chasing the generation that's cursed. And so, like, if you're, when you become a dad, when you become a husband or wife, whatever, your family, your parents, your grandparents, that becomes your, what's the freaking word? I do this every damn episode. That becomes your extended family. Your family now is what's in your house. And so you guys are now forming that, and you can take tips, but, like, don't let anybody else control that. So that's how we break those generational curses. I can't say that word either. Is by forming your own ways and forming your own life around what you believe, and just stepping away from all that crap, So
also, I feel like your parents, they can give you advice, but they parented you.
Mm-hmm.
They don't see the everyday for Micah, every day for Mia, every day for Nate, Rylan, or Elijah. Like, every human being is different. So what worked raising me may not necessarily work raising Nate, may not necessarily work, raising Rylan or Elijah. And so, like Alec said, you take all the advice in, you use what you can use, and discard the rest. And don't feel bad about that, because one, the human being that you're parenting is different than your parents' experience. But two, you're also a different person than your parents.
Yep.
So how you're going to parent, how you find your flow is going to be different than how your parents found their flow. Learn from them, but etch out your own path. That's kind of what Fatherhood Unscripted is about. Like, just, it's unscripted. There is no perfect way of doing things. There is no one way. It's just your journey. And you will find patches where you're going through thick brush and it feels like crap and feels like it'll never be easy. And then there's times where it feels like the path has been etched out for you and you're running smoothly. But it's your journey to have. You can make what you want out of it, for good or for bad. But don't let anybody dictate what that journey looks like, because it's yours. It's not anybody else's.
Yeah. Listen. There's a trilogy. I don't know what it is, but there's these two little guys, and they have to go somewhere to get rid of this thing that's like this baggage they have to carry. It's like a great power, and they have to take it. And if they would listen to certain people, they probably would have died along the way. But because they paved their own way, in the end, they were fine. So they broke away from everybody else. I can't think of what it is, but you know, so we'll just yeah. I don't know. I don't know if you could pass on something else. You probably shall not pass, but we'll move on.
Was that like a bullfrog or something that was said to a bull? Yeah, something like.
Yeah, something. They caught it on fire or something.
Yeah, weird movie, weird trilogy. I can't think of the names either, but yeah, I do remember. Yeah, somebody throwing away their marriage or something. I don't know. Something.
But yeah, I mean, some cool stuff that's happened this week is if I don't know if anybody who watches our podcast watches this, but I have a multiple, which I've been told that I probably should condense, but I have multiple social media channels. We have the podcast. We have I have my gaming channel, which is Dad Mode. We talked about that on here before. And now I have Alec Hansen, which is daily vlogs. And it's actually, I've been recording stuff this whole time. My phone's been all over the place right now because today's vlog is going to be about the podcast and what we do on the podcast. So just new things. We're trying new things, I do social media for my church. I do that one. I do this one. I do Dad Mode. And so to all my dads out there, this can be a little plug, who are feeling like they're taking on too much in our life. Me and DJ both have found that we need supplements. We've hit that age. DJ uses, is it called Ally?
Yeah.
I use
Laser Focus.
Laser Focus. I use Goli, Golli. I think there's two L. Oh, it might be one L. They're matcha mind gummies. And honestly, like, I've been taking them for a solid week now, and I do, like, there's things that where, like, I'll, like, remember to do, and things like, I'm like, hey, I see. Yep, I see. It's working, which is nice because, I feel like I get scatterbrained sometimes. And I mainly took them for the podcast because I feel like when sometimes we're talking to guests and I'm like, I don't know what to follow up with. I feel like I've been quicker this week. So which is nice. And those were recommended, well, not the Golli ones, but the Ally ones were recommended by you. So thank you for that. So if any dads out there, if you feel like you're not as clear as you used to be, you're probably at that age and it's time to start taking medication. Not a doctor.
Yeah, vitamins, are just good in general. So probably should be, loading up on things that you're deficient in and what you need. But yeah, I do feel like it does help somebody with, ADHD. If you're looking for a vitamin, like, that is something that was recommended to me by somebody who else has ADHD. And so I'm recommending it to you. Obviously, like, you know your medical history and what you can and cannot take. So, there might be an ingredient in there that you're allergic to.
Yes,
Obviously,
look into it, yeah.
Look into it first. Don't just blindly take it. That's my disclaimer. Also, you probably shouldn't. Well, it's a natural vitamin. I don't know if you need to consult your doctor per se, but just make sure that you read everything and, if it, what's the word I'm looking for, resonates with you and you want to take it, it's something that's recommended. Not a sponsor, by the way, but if they want to sponsor us, either brand,
right,
we'd be more than happy to take on that sponsorship.
We'll do the Vanna White,
Vanna
now,
White.
Speaking of sponsors, moving on to our sponsor for the day, Viagra. When you can't get it up. Just joking. Viagra's
guys, we're about to do on live stream what it looks like in real time to take
product
Viagra.
review.
Product review. I have the bottle right here in the bathroom to the left of me. Let me just go grab it real quick.
Oh god, he's gonna walk back into frame, and it's just gonna be like, And now we've hit the stupid part of the show. What's up? There's 2 people watching our live, so I don't know who's watching the live right now.
Oh, it's us.
Well then,
because I'm on it right now. I'm looking at it.
Okay.
Yeah,
we're that conceited, y'all. We can see ourselves on the screen right now. But
there's 2 people listening. I don't know who's listening. Oh, it's us.
It's us commenting like, "Oh, this person said this." Oh man, fun stuff. But we are not sponsored by Viagra. We have no issues in the bedroom, so we're fine here. We got 5 kids between us, y'all. We're okay.
We're okay. If there's any deficiency, it's lack of privacy.
Exactly.
That said, yeah, no, it's I know we were going to talk a little bit more. We did some myths that we're kind of busting.
Yeah, so we talked about dadness. We were going to talk about that, but I like the way it's gone. We never really know what we're going to talk about with these guys. Like when we originally started, we had like an idea, like we came up with like the idea for the episode, and then we would talk about that idea. I think for the last year, we haven't done that. So like even with guests, we just kind of have introduced themselves and we just kind of see where it goes. But yeah, we can talk about dadness. Where are we at now? We've been on for a half hour, so let's talk about dadness for a little bit. So some myths that are trending on the internet. The first one is dads are just backup parents.
Yeah, I will. Yeah. So any dads listening to this now or in the future when we post it, it takes 2.
Mm-hmm.
It took 2 to make the baby, and it's going to take 2 to raise the baby. A lot of times, women shoulder the responsibility, and men are like, "Well, I'm the provider." Mm-hmm. So let's just put this in perspective. Okay, if both you and your spouse got a job, who's still holding the mental load? Because I can almost guarantee, and this is not every case, there's people out there that more of the dad holds the mental load than the mom. But it usually falls on the shoulders of mom to do. But both you had a job. Who's then, figuring out things for the kids, figuring out their schedule, making sure they have lunches for school, making sure they're like taken care of, making sure the laundry's done, making sure the dishes are done, making sure the house is clean. Like who's thinking about all of these things? So yes, being a provider is important. I'm not saying that we wouldn't have a roof over our heads if like I wasn't bringing in some kind of income because, my wife stays at home with the kids, but I'm not going to fool myself that she doesn't also have a full-time job, that she rarely gets a break from, that she does, throughout the day hold a huge part of that mental load. And then I come in and then we're meant to complement each other. And sometimes she goes upstairs and takes a break and I take care of the kids while she gets that mental break. Responsibilities, and I learned this later after we had kids. Our kids are now 4 and 2. And
oh, you have twins. I was like, you have 3 kids.
Anyways, and there will be a third one. They're both 2. Yeah. So if you didn't know I had twins, I have twins that are 2 years old. So we got Nate the Great. I've kind of made nicknames for them. So Nate the Great, Elijah the Magnificent, and Rylan the Conqueror. Sometimes I talk to my daughter and I'm like, baby girl, I see you, okay? You're riding in on a unicorn, but don't let that fool people, because what you do is you chop the heads off of your enemies.
Oh my gosh.
I said, they think they're going to mess with you, but you're Rylan the Conqueror. Anyways,
my bad. I killed the moment. Yeah.
It's good. No, it's good. But I'll let Alec.
Yeah. So listen, I think my house is very different from, not very different. We live in a very modern day house. I stay home. I hang out with the kids. My wife works. Well, I'm not. We've been asked very specifically by my wife not to talk about where she works, but she works. Sometimes it's 2 hours away from our house, and so I'm here, and I'm going to stay home. I'll do everything I can at home to try and make money, and I'll hold down the fort while she holds down the money. And we've had that conversation, like, is this okay? And she's like, I am cool taking on that load as long as you're taking on the stuff at home. And like DJ said, we complement each other. Like, one handles the other. So like, parenting is not, oh, mom. No, parenting is double. Not a plug at any of the single moms out there. You are awesome. You're killing it. Single dads too. Like, you both parents. Like, if you're a single parent, you're killing it. But no, dads are not backup parents. That's such bull crap. Myth number 2: dads don't have the same emotional bond with their kids as their moms do.
Okay, so I will share my story on this because I thought this to be true initially. So, you see on TV or whatever, you hear about other dads. They're like, oh my gosh, there was an immediate connection with my kid the moment they were born. I did not have that experience. I actually felt a huge disconnect, and we've talked about it. We won't go into too much of my story of, discovering ADHD, and through that was a ton of depression. But I didn't feel that immediate connection with my kids. And like, one thing to consider is perspective is everything. What you think is a connection, and moms will naturally have a connection. They're growing the baby inside of them. Also, you need to consider a lot of moms go through postpartum depression, and that disconnect is very real. So where you feel like they're connecting and it just mama bear kicking in, like she's got a cub, and like it's almost like pushing past the crap that she's going through, whether it's healthy or not healthy. She's like, I got to be here for this kid. And so, yeah, but I will say that since that point, I have, like, there's just such a connection between me and my kids. I cannot express what this joy and this love and this compassion and this, like, it is, like, it just wells up inside me. Like, I'm so happy to have them in my life, and this connection is unreal. So that's a myth. You have your connection. If you want the connection, you'll have it.
Yeah. I feel like it's even further like that. Like, I feel like there's a different connection between sons and daughters as well. Like, I look at my daughters sometimes, like, if anybody touches that girl, I will rip their head. I will destroy the person that touches my daughter. And then I look at my son sometimes, I'm like, what is going through your brain right now? But it's boy versus girl too. Like, no. That connection is real. Like, I was so excited to have my son. Like, our son's firstborn. I was so excited. not that's emotional, but it was like, I was super excited. All right, myth number 3: dads have to be the tough parent. I don't know, because I there's been times where I'm like, listen, I'm gonna talk to your mom when she gets home, and they're like, no, 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 no. So
I can't. No, I don't know if I agree with the
tough parent
I
thing.
feel like dads are often looked at as the fun parent.
Yeah.
And not looked at as somebody who takes things serious. I think that's more of a myth now, is like, well, dad just wants to have fun all the time and he never like takes things serious, or, mom has to, do the tough conversations. And in our house, like, I do like to have fun. I'm not going to lie. I feel like a kid at heart almost all the time. So I want to wrestle with all my kids. I want to, but we definitely both do have those tough conversations with our kids.
Mm.
And if you're finding that one parent is doing it over the other, look, as much as having fun and being lighthearted, I agree with it. But kids also need to learn about consequences and about, that you can't just do whatever you want all the time. And so you're going to have those tough conversations. I know it's not easy, because it kind of breaks your heart to see your kid upset that you're like, you tell them like, hey, like that wasn't cool. And they start crying. And you're like, oh, but I mean, it's okay. You kind of want to like, but just stick it out, because your kids will grow to appreciate you for teaching them life lessons along the way, instead of just making it magical and then they get to the real world and it's not that magical.
Well, the issue
There's
too
consequences
is,
for things.
like, if there's one parent that takes on that role, it can cause a disconnect between parents too, because they're not going to go to that parent for anything. They're going to always go to, say, mom is the nice parent. They're going to go to mom, and mom would be like, or dads would be like, I already said no to that crap. So you got to have a balance. Like, I don't feel like that should go, like you said, both parents should have some form of, I'm a discipliner too. So
Speaking of going to another parent, I just thought about this. So last night, I had my oldest come up to me, right? And he's like, hey, Dad, can we play with the swing? And they were all being wild. We have a sensory swing in their room.
the heck is a sensory swing?
Look it up. But it helps kids with like ADHD and kids who are on autism spectrum, helps them relax. So they can just like lay in it and they like swing. It's connected to the roof and stuff. So anyways, or the ceiling, not the roof. That would be weird. It's to the roof.
It's outside.
The ceiling. It's outside, It's off the, second story window. No big deal. They can just slide into it. Anyways, he was asking me to use it, and they're being wild already. So I had a feeling if one of them used it, then the other one won't. There'll be a big fight, or they'll run into each other, and yeah, it would just become too chaotic. So I was like, at this time, no. Well, I didn't know that he asked my wife, who said it's up to your dad. So he goes to me and asks me, and I said no. He goes to my wife, and well, what did Dad say? He said yes. Okay, then go. So they went to my dad, who was over.
Oh gosh.
And he's like, I heard him. I was downstairs, and I thought my wife just said yes, so I wanted to confirm. Another thing, before you talk to your kids, make sure they didn't talk to the other one first, because you go to them and you get upset with them. If mom said yes without knowing that you said no, you can't really get upset with the kid, right? I mean, you can, because they took what you said and threw out the window. You also always want to be on the same page with your spouse. I would always recommend going to this, like, the person first before going in. So I asked my wife, and she's like, well, he said that you said yes. So that's why he was given the okay to do it. So I go in there, pull him downstairs, like, buddy, you can't lie. Like, that's not cool. And it just, I was just thinking about how kids, like, they're sneaky. They're sneaky. They like to go talk to the other. And so, um, yeah, I just thought about that story and it was random. Just wanted to share.
And it went with it. All right, number 4. Real dads don't cry, which is bullcrap because DJ just cried in this episode a little bit ago. I cry. I don't cry all the time, but I do cry. We'll talk about that text in the next episode. I forgot. I got a text from someone this week, and that was a interesting text in my life, but we'll talk about that in the next episode. But yeah, no, dads cry. And if you're one of those dads like, oh, I'm so tough, I don't cry. Don't just these are dried up and blah, blah. No. Real dads are in connection with their emotions.
Yep. And I would say to the man who is, well, I don't cry. I would look that person in the eye and say, are you okay?
Mm-hmm.
Like what? Well, let's just say your name is Jim, what did little Jim, like what happened to little Jim to say my emotions are not okay to have? Who told you that you didn't have permission to feel? I'd venture that you're going to go to that place and it's going to hurt a lot because you feel like I can even just feel emotion just talking about, like, because my heart, it breaks for people who were never allowed to be kids. Never allowed to feel emotion, because then you get to this adult life and you think that like you don't care. There's a part of you that doesn't matter. And that's not the case at all. You do matter. Every single part of you matters. And you need to figure that out for yourself. You need to go on a discovery and say, oh, this emotion, I don't like it. I don't like how it feels. It's a part of me, and so I want to lean into it. And this is how you're going to get to be the healthiest version of yourself, and be the best version for your kids and your significant other if you have one. So,
yeah, we've talked about in the past where it's like, the best version of yourself is. Listen, I know I can't say much because I'm a heavy set man, but the best version of yourself is physically, mentally, spiritually healthy. Yep. All right. So the next one, and this one, is it a myth? You'll never sleep again. I mean, I slept fine last night. Well, I slept on a cot, but I slept fine last night.
Yeah, no, here's the thing. I actually had this conversation just recently at my church home group. Anyways, I had a dad over there, and he was like, oh, I can't wait until, my kid is able to tie his shoe or something. And I stopped him for a second. I was like, just think about it for a second. There might be a moment that comes in your life 5 years down the road. Let's say it's 5 years, where you're going to say, dang it, I miss tying their shoes.
Mm-hmm.
Look, there's going to be a period of time where you're not getting a ton of sleep. It's just facts. You're going to be exhausted. You're going to probably think, what's the point of this life? You kind of go through there is scientific proof that you can feel bouts of depression or you're not getting enough rest. So there is a possibility like, man, I feel like there's no oomph in life. In those moments where it's tough to do so, I just want you to stop, cherish the little baby that's in front of you, hug them, hold them tight, because you blink and they're the 4, almost 5-year-old, and they're independent and they still like to play with you, but then there's times where they like push you away because they're doing things and you don't get as much time with them. And it's not about like picking up a baby and No, they're, so every stage of life that you go through, regardless of the lack of sleep or whatever, just cherish moments. Like, you're going to say, I wish, or I can't wait till they're out of the diaper phase. Well, then you're going to miss having those moments where, you were changing their diaper and you had a funny moment.
Mm-hmm.
And now you don't have, you don't share those same moments anymore. And I don't know. I'm constantly reminiscing and like, man, I need to be more present because I miss moments and I feel like I haven't soaked in enough of it. So that's my mission this year, is soak in moments.
So DJ's missing is to not sleep this year.
Oh, I embrace it,
You embrace it. You guys should see DJ when he goes, oh, I need to focus.
Oh, whoa.
Hold on.
Hold on. Whoa. Get back in focus. Whoa. Trippy, man.
That was weird. But no, yeah, when they're young, there is a lot of lack of sleep because they're babies. But no, you'll sleep. You're going to be very tired, but you'll sleep. But no, I like that. You're going to be focusing on more moments this year. Number 6. I think we just really covered this one with one of the other ones. Once you're a dad, you stop having fun. I think you get more fun, honestly, because you find ways you can be a kid again. Like me and my son, like we hang out, we play video games, we watch old like 80s and 90s movies. We go, like, he's getting into soccer, so we've been going to the park every Monday and practicing soccer. Like we do stuff. Like I feel like I do more as a dad than I would if I wasn't.
100%.
Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of like you feel, even though you don't need this. So anybody listening that is like doesn't have kids, you can be just as fun and be just kid-like.
Mm-hmm.
It's almost like you get like a hall pass. You get to be a kid because you're playing with your kid.
Mm-hmm.
So people kind of like just like, he's playing with his kid. When in reality, what was going through your head this entire time before you had kids is, I really want to go to a park and slide down the slide. But it would be creepy if I'm just some random dude sliding down a slide with a bunch of kids around me.
You know what my thing is?
Kids of my own
is I use my kids as excuses. So this is my son's Boba Fett. This is my battle. And we have battles because I wanted an action figure. I had to get Micah one. So no, I think we have fun,
Definitely.
You have to have fun as dad. You can't just, everything can't be taken too seriously. You have to have come into parenting
man.
with.
Come on. Let's be real. Like, I don't know who said this is like ain't nobody gonna change a man. Okay. Alec and I still laugh at dumb jokes, and our wives constantly question our maturity.
Mm-hmm.
You're never gonna stop having fun.
Mm-hmm.
You're never gonna stop being that immature little kid. You're just immature little kid with your kids.
Yep.
You just have those conversations with your kids.
It brings you back in touch with your inner child. It's pretty fun. All right. Number 7. Good dads always know what to do. I think we talked about this also. Like, no, you're not going to know anything. It's a learning experience. And I feel like it gets real bad real quick when you think you're going to go and like, oh, I know how to do this. No, you don't. 100%.
Nope. No. You go learn.
It's not like you become a dad and then instantly your brain unlocks. You're like, oh, what's that meme in from The Hangover where he's like, he's seeing all the numbers, or the mind explosion meme where he's like, yeah, no, you're not. That doesn't happen. That was a quick one. Number 8. This is the last one. Being a dad means giving up on your dreams.
Ooh.
All right.
Being a dad. Oh, this is good. Being a dad, you don't give up on your dreams. You just repurpose your dreams.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, it may not look... See, this is the thing. People get in their dreams, and they say it's got to look this way. Like it's so black and white. But the thing is, there's a lot of gray. And there's different ways to do things. And it may not look exactly how you thought it was going to look. But like, I can say that my dreams are still very much so real. I just now have to, it's going to look different with kids in the picture. Mm-hmm. Like I said, as I said, it's something your dreams die. It's just that you have to repurpose them. Mm-hmm. You have to get creative with them. But go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say, it's like when you're designing. Like I went to school for architecture and stuff. The design phase looks completely different than the result. So you're all this stuff you want and you think and they think like, oh yeah, this is it. This is not it. You're gonna go through changes. You're gonna go through this and this. And there's also a quote. It says like, I freaking had it too. It's gone. Whatever. But yeah, it's like you're in that design phase where you're dreaming. You got, oh, I want $1 million. I want a house. I want this. I want this. And then you get to it and you're finally living it. And you don't think it looks, you're like, oh no, it doesn't look like that. But no, you're living what you're dreaming of. And you can still have crazy dreams. Like me and DJ, we want to live off of the internet. We want to be content creators full time. Like we are content creators full time. Technically, it's not bringing in a lot in, but like we are, and what's what we're doing. It's part of the dream. Yeah. What were you say?
Great question. No, I trying to think. Oh, here is what a lot of people I feel like do. Mm-hmm. You have kids. You realize it's going to be a lot of work to still pursue the dreams that you had in your head, because you have to repurpose, you have to get creative. Doesn't look exactly the same. It may not even be as simple as it once seemed. Like, oh, I do this, this, and this. Well, now you're jumping over hurdles and you're having to balance their life, your spouse's life. Like it's just a lot of moving parts that you have to align, almost like the stars have to align. So a lot of people do, and where I think this myth comes from is they give up. Give up on their dreams. Mm-hmm. They go to a dead-end job. It pays the bills, so maybe this is it for me. This is life. Here's what I'm going to say. Do not do that, because what you tell your kids is that it's okay to give up on your dreams. It's okay to not pursue what you want in life because you have a family or because, no, show them that like dad isn't going to work freaking hard. Mm-hmm. And, it's a whole quote, like I'll shoot for the moon. I'll land among the stars if I don't hit the moon, but just go after life with intensity. And like, I'm going to live the way that I want to live. It's just going to look different. You have kids you have to care for too. So you're not taking like these major risks, but it's like, don't live a life that is not full of life. Like, be passionate and find things that you want to do and pursue that, because otherwise you can tell your kids all you want to pursue their dreams, but they saw you give up on yours. Yeah. And they're not going to pursue theirs.
And look, as dads were like, well, if I do that, then I'm losing time with my kids. Oh, you're freaking out. We've talked to multiple millionaire parents on this podcast, and they're like, my kid's right here with me. Sean Whalen, he takes his kids to like speaking in front of hundreds of thousands of people. Simon Squibb, his son's right there with them, going to sightings and take your freaking kids with you and show, like DJ's saying, show them how to achieve that dream, because that's just going to make their life better. And in the end, they're going to go achieve their dreams. And that's how you show your kids that it's possible. So it's like, take it with you, include your kids. What? You showed your Pac-Man?
Yeah. No, I was like, this gets me pumped up.
Yeah.
Like, come on, guys.
The proof is in the pudding,
I want to get right in the trenches with you and tell you to go. Yeah. So, come on. I want to get you pumped up this morning.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and whatever you're listening to this, but like, just know that like your example lies within your actions and not your words.
Mm-hmm.
And so what you're saying versus what you're doing, like, make sure they're lining up. Make sure that you're living by your values every single day so that your kids know that, like, dad gave life everything he had, because then they're going to give life everything they have. And if you want to truly make a difference in this world, it starts at home. And, you know, I've always talked about for myself, I want to impact what I do. I want to have such an impact in this world that it echoes for generations. And I think that that is a very possible, real thing for me to do, especially if I start with my own family. I have kids that may eventually have kids. So if I break generational curses, if I become the best version of me, then I teach them how to do that same thing. Well, then they're going to teach their kids, and their kids are going to teach their kids. And I started a whole other cycle of people who want to win in life, people who want to be successful, people who want to just live healthy, whole life. And yeah, I'm just saying, it starts, our generation is realizing that it's us. Like, we can make the change. We can do, set our kids up for so much and let them stand on our shoulders and not pull them back. But just be that foundation that they stand upon. Yeah. I'm a little passionate about this, but.
Well, that's our whole thing, is like the Fatherhood Unscripted. If you look at our logo, it's in the roots. Like, fatherhood is in the roots, and we got that giant, massive, strong tree growing out of fatherhood. Like, let your kids blossom, let your kids grow to heights that you never could, you know, or get to heights and then push your kids even farther. So,
Boom.
Yep. But that's all of them. I mean, it's going to be cool. I'm going to break this up into, we're going to have the podcast episode, and then I'm going to break it up into another episode of just dad myths, and we'll edit that one down to fun stuff. So this has been fun. I mean, we're on for an hour now. We've been chatting, but we've been live, so we're trying out new things. And if you guys got anything out of this, listen, go. I think we're going to start focusing on YouTube more. So this should be on YouTube. Hit the like button, subscribe, comment. Like, what dadness do you guys know? If you guys have anything against what we've said on here, let us know, because we want to chat with you. We want to know why you don't think you should be allowed to dream or whatever. Yeah.
And if you got any dad advice, you know, we ask every single one of our guests. Well, actually, maybe not every single one, but for the good majority of it, we ask them, what's one thing that you can give to people, new dads who have been in it for a minute? Like, what's that one piece of advice that, you know, you wish you were told, or that you've just learned along the way? So if there's one piece of advice that you would give a dad, throw it in the comments. Like, we want to hear that kind of stuff. We want to start interacting more with you guys, and we want you to be part of the community. You know, we were just talking about, go check out Copper John's, by the way. My beard has never looked better. They're not a sponsor of ours, but we had Tyson on our podcast, and he's part of Dad Bods and Beards, and he owns a company, and he actually talks about the company and how it started, and it's really cool. Like, his background just set him up for success in this. Anyways, super cool. Go check Copper John's out. But he has his live stream that he does, and he just invites people in to be a part of the community, be a part of his brand, be a part of it growing, and ideas. And so that's what we want this to be. We want to be able to talk with you guys. We want to be able to interact with you. We want to hear your journeys, because everybody's journey is different. So what you've learned, maybe somebody else can take that and run with it. Maybe the light bulb goes off because you said one thing a different way. There's been so many times, like, my wife will tell me something, and then I'll hear it again from somebody else, and they'll just tweak it just a tad bit. And it's like, what my wife said finally goes off my brain. I'm like, oh my gosh, I get it. And my wife's like, I've been telling you this. You idiot. She didn't call me an idiot, but yeah. She's been telling you this. Why, you knucklehead? Like, get through your
You guys
head.
will see our wives. Our wives, they love us, but they do talk to us like that. You'll meet them.
Yeah. But yeah, we want to create that community. We've talked about it multiple times, but yeah, like, subscribe, comment. I don't know how many comments we can get, but we will respond to every single comment, or at least like it. If there's no response that needs to be had, we'll just like it and say, thank you for sharing, basically.
Yep.
But yeah, we will comment. We're very much so people. You go to our TikTok, like, we're liking every single freaking comment. We're commenting on things. Like, just interact with us. That's also going to help us grow and get to more people. So the more you interact, the better, because we can help more people, help more dads, help more parents. So,
well, DJ, always a good time.
Always.
Looking like we're going to have a very busy week. We have looking at 3 episode recording this week, so it's going to be fun. We got some really cool guests coming up, y'all. We have Anthony Trucks. He's a public speaker, amazing man. We have, I'm going to mess up his last name, Joe Taulani of I Love You Bro Project. His story is going to be awesome to listen to. And then we have Matt Chennert. He was young today, but he had some issues with family, which is fine. And so he'll be on next week. And listen, we are almost booked out through April now. And so we hope you guys are excited. I just hit my mic. We hope you're excited to go on this journey. We hope you guys are excited to hear all the stories coming up. And I do think that me and DJ, we might start doing these lives pretty frequently. So we hope you're excited for that. So we'll see you all in the next episode. DJ, I'm sure we'll talk later today. Cool?
Yes. All right.
All right,
guys. Take it easy.
Peace out, guys.
Peace.
Later.